I haven't done one of my epic long walks in a while. It's probably been, I don't know, 5 or 6 days. I mean, I've still been getting in like 5 or 6 miles in a day, except for the past few days when the weather's been really gross. But I still get out there anyway. I really lose my sense of balance when I don't get this kind of walking in. Oh, and by the way, when it comes to this isn't that new anymore, but architecture in Astoria just seems like it cannot get uglier. Or just when you think it cannot get uglier, they put up something like this. This is the Borough Hotel, B-O-R-O. And to be fair, this project went through, I think, 3 architecture companies, 3 designers, 3 companies before it ended up looking like this. I thought all those weird railings were some kind of scaffolding that was going to come off when the building was finished, but that's it. It just looks like some kind of, I don't know, like a prison, maybe, although prisons don't have balconies. But yeah, there's a lot of just inexcusably ugly architecture around here. It makes these things look positively quaint. These are perfectly fine though. I'm not pointing these out, but yeah, this is like something through the looking glass. I bet it looks fine on the inside. I know somebody who lives on this block, and he said he absolutely hates this building. Not only is it just ugly as hell, but he claims the ownership is just not very pleasant. I'm not sure. I don't remember now what he said about that exactly. You know, this is another relatively new hotel. Hotels were just popping up like weeds around here for a while. And this one is not hideous, but it's, I don't know. It's there. I did once get a burger at the Michael's Cafe, and it was completely unremarkable, but I'm not much of a foodie. Over there is the Holiday Inn. Wait a minute. That sort of greenish structure, teal windows. It's a Holiday Inn. That's not a bad looking building, and I know somebody who lived around here who had some reason to stay there one night in the penthouse suite, and he said it was a really nice place. So let's give that some credit. But so many of these buildings around here, it's just how could they make them any uglier? And there's some Big Alice for you. No steam belching out of her today. I don't know why I called her her. And then here's the 70-story. I forget what this one's going to be called. That's been going up for probably about a year now. Probably longer. Definitely longer. They had to change a bunch of zoning rules and air rights and that kind of thing to put that monster up. Queens Plaza is like completely unrecognizable from, I guess, about 15 years now, since all these big ass condos and apartment buildings started going up. I overheard an older guy once at a bar say he had to go see a doctor somewhere in Queens Plaza. He hadn't been down there in a long time. He's like, he thought he was lost. He didn't know where the hell he was. Somebody left an apple here. Or maybe this is a Yoko Ono art piece. I don't know if I've ever heard these bells ring, or if they do ring. I don't see any of the ringers, but maybe they're up high. You know, I don't want to jinx anything, but daily life really is starting to feel a little closer to normal the past couple of weeks compared to this new reality of the last year. I actually ate at a restaurant yesterday. With only a couple of forgettable exceptions. I haven't done that. I did once, I think during the summer, outdoor dining. But I haven't been to a bar in like 3 years. And I don't miss them much, but I'm thinking I might pay a visit to some local places that I haven't been to. It's really noisy up here. And as soon as I said that, it got relatively quiet. This bridge shakes quite a bit. And it is noisy. I wish I could walk through the Queens Midtown tunnel. The first time I walked over this bridge was on September 11th. In fact, it was the first time I was even aware that there was a dedicated pedestrian lane. I don't think it was officially designated a bike lane back then, but it is now. That's back when I was in corporate, though, and walking a mile seemed like an epic journey to me back then. So walking over this bridge that day, all the way from the far west side, well, 9th Avenue and 34th Street. That was a big deal. Or it seemed like it at the time, but I wasn't complaining or anything. They are going to turn the other lane on the other side of this bridge. That's going to become a dedicated pedestrian path. And this side is going to be a dedicated bike path. So we'll see how that works out. I think that doesn't happen until next year, though. It sounds like a positive. The only drawback I see, for me at least, is that to get to the new pedestrian path, I have to cross 1,000 lanes of traffic at Queens Plaza. But I can cope. Every time I see this John 9:77, I think it's a Bible verse reference. Gospel of John, chapter 9, verse 77, or chapter 97, verse 7. But unfortunately, no such reference exists. But I always think it would be awesome if a portaling company somehow found Bible verse that was related to taking a dump or going to the bathroom and set up their toll-free number to to reference that Bible verse, but it doesn't seem too likely. Well, it looks like these two on 57th Street and 1st Avenue are still hanging in there. don't think these ads have changed in a long time, though. Shot of Dutch craft vodka, except there's a little bit left. Way too early for me to be drinking vodka. Oh wow, dial tone. I think this had dial tone last time. Nice husky sound too. I don't know if you can hear that, but those touch-tone keys look pretty worn. Most of them do. Yeah, this one doesn't work. That's right, this is the Waco one. Somebody went wacko for Waco. Oh, we got one dial tone on 57th Street. How about that? These are gone since last time I was here. This is on 2nd Avenue, just south of 57th Street. If I remember right, there was just the enclosure. The phones have been gone for a long time. This faded cent sign and the 6-digit number is supposed to be a signal for the payphone angel of death to come down and get rid of these payphones and replace them with a Link NYC kiosk. And that 6-digit number is the identifying number of the kiosk that is supposed to be here. That number's been there for I think 3 years. The Link NYC program has really stagnated, and it's not because of the pandemic, although that probably didn't help. It stagnated long before that. There is one across the street, if you can distinguish it from here, just to the right of that woman standing there. But none here. And we got a couple more hanging on here at Lexington Avenue, just off the 57th. There are actually 6 at this intersection. I'm only going to look at these 2 and another 2. Somebody with a special kind of OCD is still doing this, it appears. Tying up the cords in knots. This isn't even one of the more elaborate ones. It's gotta suck if it's part of your job to untie these things. I guess somebody attempted to use this one. But they would have failed because there's no dial tone. And that's a random 406 area code, meaning they brought this phone in from somewhere else. I don't remember what that area code is or where it's assigned. I used to have a lot of area codes memorized, but when they started splitting them, I sort of lost my interest. And in particular, when my father's area code changed to 386, and that area code was not assigned to just one area. It was assigned to 2 separate physical geographical locations, and somehow that just broke the spell for any magic that I might have felt for area codes. Here across the street is hanging in there a little bit of prey. The message is still out here. It's almost gone, but oh wow, somebody spray painted over the skinny jeans woman. Maybe she's still on this side. No. Anyway, yeah, nothing doing. nada, but I wasn't expecting it. Where is she anyway? Yeah, there she is, there she is. Unmistakable. Barely visible, but unmistakable. The message is out there. But probably not for long. Yeah, there she is again. Not on this one. And yeah, there she is one last time. A trifecta. There was a piece in the Times about what a dump this place is. 432 Park. And from everything I read, it just sounds like you would not want to live in this place. Especially on the high floors, where it gets so... the sway of the building is really... would make you seasick. It'd probably make me seasick. But apparently it has all kinds of plumbing issues, and the elevators, the cables for the elevators make a racket when there's wind. And there was a catastrophic flood on one of the high floors, and yada yada. The reactions I saw were all pretty predictable. Schadenfreude, fuck the rich, that kind of thing. I don't find it terribly surprising that a building that went up so quickly isn't quite up to code. This is Madison Avenue. I mean, 56th Street, just off of Madison Avenue. Still hanging in there, but I bet you they don't work. I'm right. Oh wow, that's still here. That sticker on top has been here for like a couple of months, at least. That means absolutely nobody has been out here to maintain these things. Like, maybe since the election. I don't know. And they don't work. I have a very fond memory of this intersection. I was on the other side of the street, which I can't get to. Or no, I can't. In fact, I'm going to go across the street and try to find the exact spot where something happened. So it was right about here, Madison Avenue, just off of 57th, outside the IBM building, where I saw the most famous person I've ever seen up close. And it's hard to think of anybody more famous, not only in his lifetime, but beyond. And I don't really care about famous people so much, but when I had a chance to see Pope John Paul II, I went out of my way to do it. I think this was October 1995. And he was in New York for a few days, and his itinerary was published, so I knew that his motorcade would be coming by here. And it did, and his car was moving very slow. It was raining, it was dark already. But you could see his face. There's no mistaking that baby-faced Pope. And he smiled and he waved at me. And it felt like something magical, but I'm not as religious now as I was back then, but I still remember that feeling. Like I just come close to God. But of course, his reputation is not what it used to be. Since it's been revealed, he knowingly allowed I forget what, a deacon or a bishop or something to continue to be in the church after knowing that there had been allegations of sexual misconduct. I don't like to read about that stuff. I don't even like to think about priests molesting little kids. For a lot of reasons. Not least of which there was a priest in my life who I recently learned died. And I was honestly glad to hear it. Well, this made me laugh. I think it's been about a month since I was here. This is, I'm not sure what street this is, Madison and 50-something. And my Payphone radio card is still here. That means nobody has looked at this handset in about a month. It's gone from the other two. And there's a shot of Bacardi for it, an empty shot. It's gone from the other two, but it's... that Payphone's not getting much attention, is it? Whoops. I don't know why I keep forgetting to do this. It's like a primary reason I check in on these phones this is the only real promotion I do for my Payphone radio. And I'm sure it's not effective at all. Not an effective means of promotion, but if I get one connection, that's worth it, right? Okay, where is this? This is Madison and 52nd. Wow, I'm further down than I thought. I thought I was only at 55th. This is a very well-maintained bathroom at the Rockefeller Center. I've been coming here for years and years and years now. The Trump Tower is also a very well-maintained one. And there's a good bathroom at the Onassis Cultural Center. So if you're ever in Midtown and you need a place to pee, those are my recommendations. Also, Grand Central is kind of a necessary evil. It's not a real pleasant place, but it's there. I think I said earlier that things really are starting to feel something close to normal, whatever normal means, or ever did mean. This is more people than I've seen at Rockefeller Center in a long time. The passageways are very narrow, though. They put these walls, these temporary walls all over. And I'm left to ask, how the heck do I get to the post office now? There used to be, there was a passage here, but it's gone. Well, that's some bullshit. They closed the path that I usually take to get to the post office, and he said it's going to be like 5 or 6 months. And that's kind of a big deal because I sometimes have trouble going down the stairs, and this other entrance has a pretty steep set of stairs to go down, so I have to ask for the elevator, because it's not, the elevator is intended only for people with ID. Yeah, this is kind of a drag. I have to ask to use the elevator to go downstairs, and now I have to wait 2 minutes for it. Whatever, I'm not really complaining, it's just I'm used to my routine down here.
Come close.
Right. Thank you. Wow, it's like all closed off. there's a passageway here to the restaurants and the skating rink. Or there was. Just as I was saying that things are starting to feel normal again. Anyway, here's my P.O. box that I've had. This has been my permanent address for 30-something years. And that'll be my last issue of this magazine. I got a copy. I got a $5 annual subscription. They had a promotional price for it. And I don't think I opened this magazine more than once or twice. I'm gonna make sure they... Oh, I guess I'm gonna keep getting this until June. Huh. Well, anyway. As always, I check in on the payphone down here. And I always make this approach with the slight feeling of dread that it's not going to be there anymore. There she is. Among the very last working payphones in Midtown Manhattan. And one of the most reliable. Yep. Gosh. Into Payphone Radio for the first time since June. I was going to say March. Oh, fuck. Long story, but I think I configured my PBX wrong. Well, I'll worry about it later. Okay, so I should explain what actually happened here. There was nothing wrong with my PBX per se. I've been messing around with Asterisk and free PBX. I had set it up to, I'm just setting it up to do simple stuff, and I had configured the voicemail and all this stuff to allow me to call in and go straight to voicemail and record something up to 15 minutes. When this call got disconnected, I assumed I had screwed something up, but then I realized later that I had tested it a number of times and that it worked fine. It does what it's supposed to do. The problem isn't with my PBX, it's with that payphone, because that phone has this annoying quality about it that goes back to the early days of COCOTs. COCOT stands for Customer-Owned Coin-Operated Telephone, and those were the independently owned phones that started showing up across the country in the mid-1980s. One of the many things that made COCOT kind of a dirty word among payphone users was the fact that you'd dial the number, put your money in, and the call would connect, but the person who answered couldn't hear you for about 7 seconds. The length of time varies from one phone to the next, I think, but that's what would often happen, and it was considered a dirty trick, because whoever you called wouldn't hear anything, and they would just hang up, and you'd have to call back. Most people aren't going to go to the trouble of demanding a refund of 25 cents, so this was one of the ways the COCOTs sort of skimmed money off their users. So this phone still has that little bit of programming in it. I've used this phone for a number of years, and I got used to it because it didn't really matter. I would
would dial, I would pay the money, and then I would just wait 10 seconds before I could actually start recording. I wasn't calling people, I was calling my Skype number or a voicemail, and these systems were not so sensitive to silence. They didn't hang up after just a few seconds of silence. My PBX, by default, is set to hang up after just a few seconds of silence. So that's what happened here. By the way, I hope you enjoy this photo of a Rockefeller Center security guard using this phone. I think that's from 2015. This is a pretty busy phone. I see he was using that phone that I used today, and there's another one right next to it, but he's using this actual phone. But that phone stays pretty busy. Anyway, that's what happened. The problem wasn't my PBX per se. It was this problem with the phone itself. And like I said, I've used this phone long enough that I just got used to it. But it wasn't really an issue because the systems I was calling didn't care about 5 seconds of silence.
Well, having said that, that's more people than I've seen at Rockefeller Center in a long time. Turns out the rest of the compound is actually pretty empty. So I think maybe it was the narrow space that made it seem like there were more people than there really were. Gonna head down to Grand Central to check in on the non-working phones and to see if the passages are open. There were, I wanted to document the remains of the hundreds and hundreds of payphones that used to be down there in the passages, but I don't think they're going to be open, and they don't say on their website if it's open or not, or I'm not aware that it's publicized anywhere. I like these kind of signs. So if you can hear me over that jackhammer noise, this used to be a payphone. The next girlfriend of mine used to call me from. I mean, she had a cell phone, we both did, but she knew how to make my day by calling me from a payphone every once in a while. She used this one because she worked in that building right across the street, and I think she also used that one that you can see somebody threw their handset down. But there was something about this one that she liked better than that one. I don't remember why. She was pretty cool. She was really cute like that. This is nice. I don't remember this looking like this last time I was here. 44th Street. Just off of 5th Avenue. There's the wireless router that connects to the Verizon wireless network. It even has the number printed on it, or handwritten. I don't want to know what that brown shit is. I don't think I touched it though. Where's the sanitizer when you need it? I don't know if somebody ripped this open or if it just came undone by itself. Yeah, see, the number of the wireless router is not the same as what's printed on the phone. That 599 number is from when this used to be a copper landline. Here's another one where the innards are showing. Wouldn't take much to just pry it open. I don't know if this stuff is worth anything. I looked up the router. I think new. It's like $20 each. So I don't know if maybe the battery, that big battery in the back, might be worth something. I don't know. This is kind of cool. There's a new entrance to Grand Central from 42nd Street. I saw them working on this. I didn't know it was already open. all shiny and clean and new. So I wonder if this is going where I want to be. I guess it's not fully open yet. Huh? Oh, I don't know what the point of that was, but security guard ordered me to go this way to Grand Central. You never know when it's going to be the last time you see this thing. I'm going to go downstairs now. That last one was the station master's room at Grand Central. I don't like to stay long in that room because in the past, people behind the desk look at me kind of weird for shooting video in there. But like I said, you never know when it's the last time you'll ever see one of these things. I have it on very good authority that this and the previous phone are not going to be restored to service, and true to form, it still doesn't work. That's too bad, because this was a really good phone, and making calls from Grand Central, the calls were, I mean, compared to other things, not to get all elegiac or anything, but they sounded beautiful. I sort of rediscovered this past week when I plowed through all of my Payphone radio calls, or all the ones that I hadn't fully processed and edited. So the calls from the City Bridge phones often sounded like garbage, if it even sounded like anything. But the acoustics of Grand Central and the phone itself and the ruggedness of the landline connection made those calls sound absolutely beautiful in the context of all the other calls that came in from other brands of phones. So this, of course, is a PTS phone, and PTS is the nation's largest payphone service provider. I've probably said this before, but these metal things, the frames around the handset, were there to prevent shoulder surfing. It was when people used to use calling cards and credit cards to place long-distance calls. Somebody might be standing nearby, or standing far away with a pair of binoculars or something, and they would watch you punch the numbers in, and they'd steal your number and resell it. And that's how people. That's the kind of forgotten world of the payphone hustler. They would get these credit card numbers and resell them to people who would call all over the world for just stupid cheap prices, because the hustler wasn't paying for it, of course. So there'd be, I saw a report once, there were just hundreds of hours of calls from, in particular, the Port Authority was a real hotspot for this stuff, but I'm sure it went on here too. But hundreds of hours of calls would go from there to like Egypt and Nicaragua and just anywhere in the world. Thousands and thousands of dollars worth of calls that the caller only paid pennies on the dollar for. So that's these metal guards were intended to prevent shoulder surfing, and that's why they're still there. Anyway, these metal plates are where payphones used to be, and if the passages are open, I'd show how many hundreds and hundreds of these things there are, these plates where the payphones used to be. There's another row of them over here. Here's a row of, I think this is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, it's 12. 12, not 10. And there's always one shorty, one that's a little lower down. That's for American with Disabilities Act requirements. But yeah, in the passages, there's just like wall after wall of these things. But I don't think I'm going to be able to get down there anytime soon. Wow, it is really quiet down here. Middle of a weekday. It really is like a ghost town still. I really miss the Oyster Bar Saloon. Couple of dead payphones in there, in the bathrooms. Oh, I wonder if it's open actually. Indoor dining is supposed to be allowed again. Limited basis. I don't really need to find out. I'm not going there anytime soon. Indeed, the passages remain closed. That's too bad. I'm gonna check in on this one again. This is 2nd Avenue near 58th Street. I can't believe this thing is still here in this condition. Have they no pride at City Bridge? This thing is a total disaster.
So you just have to heat it up. No.
I thought she was saying, oh my God, about this payphone. And by the way, that Rockefeller Center phone where I hung up, I got cut off. I called into my PBX where I had tested it before, and I was able to leave a lengthy voicemail. But what I thought happened here was that I had set the silence threshold to something stupid, and that that was why it got cut off. But in fact, I think it is a matter of silence. I thought these were keys. Some of those old PTS phones have maintained the annoying quality of connecting the call, but it's complete silence for like 5 or 6 seconds, maybe even longer. And you might be able to hear the person you called, but they can't hear you. And I think that's what happened here. So I might want to report this to the proper authorities. It was considered a dirty trick of the COCOT, the early COCOT people. COCOT became kind of a dirty word when the independents came to the scene. But it was a trick that they did to make you put money in, think you hadn't connected, and then hang up and try again. So you lose your money. And most people aren't going to complain about a quarter. Well, in summary, it doesn't look like there's been much payphone carnage in Midtown since the last time I rolled through. But there was a row of 3 that is now gone. But there were no phones in those enclosures anyway. Well, it looks like this one's gone, but I think this was gone already. There are a couple across the street. This is 2nd Avenue. But another one that was down around the corner was a Payphone. That one's gone. So that's it for today. I'm gonna walk back over the bridge. I'm not going to record anymore because battery life is going fast. Making video on this thing really just started to devour battery life. On second thought, I'll end with this instead. So who doesn't love a big, huge boat? A friend of mine owns a sailboat. I've been out sailing with him a few times. They call this King of the Road. You do not want to get in its way.